Hi, I'm Chris, welcome back to Fragmental, thanks for joining me. Dior is one of my favourite all-time designer fragrance houses, second only in fact to Tom Ford. So I was just casually checking out my reasonably extensive Dior collection the other day, like you do, and I wondered, where would I rank them? Which is my least favourite and which is my favourite? So I thought I'd make a video about it. Let's go. So I think Dior is an amazing fragrance house. The only reason that I say Tom Ford is my top is because I just think they offer a little more variety. There's a few more bold creations that I love about Tom Ford, but there's not much in it. Tom Ford is number one just by a small margin. Dior consistently offer fantastic quality fragrances. They always seem to use really great materials. Within the brand, there's so much variety, so much choice. There are fragrances for different moods, different seasons, different occasions. There is so much to choose from. I own 13 fragrances from Dior. Obviously, there are some Dior fragrances that I don't own. Hopefully, I can rectify that in the future. But this video is about the ones that I do own. I love all of them. There are 13 of them here. But which do I rank the lowest and which is the highest? Let's find out. The fragrance coming in at lucky number 13 is unlucky for some, actually. This is the original Sauvage EDT. I know this gets a bit of flack, probably because it's such a popular fragrance, so many people are wearing it. If you are very into fragrances, you maybe steer away from this one because you want to smell a little bit different, you want to smell unique. You are not really going to smell unique if you're wearing Sauvage EDT, but take all that out of the equation, and I think it's a great scent. It's not a complicated scent, it's clean, it's fresh, it's powdery. I think it's a really nicely composed scent, and I thoroughly enjoy wearing Sauvage. I will admit that because of the reasons I've mentioned, I don't wear it that much, but when I do, I always think, you know what, I really enjoy this. Performance is insane considering it's an eau de toilette. I know that doesn't always reflect how performance should be, but this is very strong. Good fragrance, very common. I don't wear it that much, but I think it's good. Number 13 is Sauvage EDT. 12 is another Sauvage. This is the Eau de Parfum. The reason this is 12 is because it's very similar to the EDT. It's maybe a little less screechy, a little less powerful. It projects a little bit less and maybe a little bit more refined. This is pretty much doing the same job as Sauvage for me. It's basically the same smell. It's a bit more refined than the original. It's a little softer, a little more rounded, a little less screechy. Because of that, you get a little bit more sophistication. So I feel like I get all the benefits of the really nice smell of Sauvage, but something that is just a little more refined. Number 11 is the original Fahrenheit. This isn't an old vintage bottle or anything, but the smell is quite vintage to me. It doesn't smell like a modern fragrance. Not to say that I don't like it, I really enjoy the smell. The violet leaf, that gasoline petrol type smell that people talk about, I totally get that. Some nice leather, quite strong leather. It's a big, bold, masculine fragrance, but for some reason, and I don't know why, it does make me think of a vintage type of smell. It doesn't smell like a modern fragrance, so I don't actually wear this that often. Maybe there's some association from my past. Maybe someone used to wear this fragrance when I was a kid. I don't know, I wasn't into fragrances really when I was a kid, so I don't know, but for some reason it makes me think of slightly older things. But obviously it's classic, it's iconic, I do wear it from time to time. It is bold, I love that about it. It makes a statement. Dior Fahrenheit is my number 11. The next one at number 10 is definitely more of an easier wear, definitely more of a casual fragrance. This is the original formulation. I think it's the original. I think there's been a few formulations over the years. I don't know if it's the original, but this is not the current formulation of Dior Homme Sport that you can buy. This is the more citrusy version, and it is just that. It's a very easygoing, very nice, likable, rounded citrus scent. Maybe a little on the safe side. For me personally, I do enjoy the more recent formulation of Dior Homme Sport more. I think the newer version smells better, it's a little more complex, it's a bit more structured, it's got something more to it. I feel like it's got more of an assertive, assured confidence about it. But this one is very nice. It's a nice, clean citrus scent. Throw this on whenever, wherever, and it's just going to do the job. This is really a dumb reach, but yeah, I do need the newer version. Speaking of newer versions. This is the most recent formulation of Dior Homme. This one came out in 2020, controversially taking away the iris, which was sort of the beating heart of the Dior Homme line. It was quite a bold decision from Dior, and I think initially it got a little bit of flack, a little bit of negativity for that, because people who loved the iris in Dior Homme felt like it was being stolen from them. But then Dior decided that they would still have that version, so that is called Dior Homme Original now, and this is the newer version. I think this is a great modern masculine cologne. The skill in this is somehow managing to be reminiscent of older, more classic masculine smells, but it still smells very modern, which is why I call it a great modern masculine scent. It's got a great freshness, it's got a bit of attitude, it's easy to wear, but it's not boring, it's still a little bit of a statement maker. You are not going to go wrong wearing this scent. It smells good. But does it smell quite as good as Dior Homme Original? I have the original Dior Homme before it was called Dior Homme Original, one of the last bottles available, I think, but this is still pretty much the same thing. If you buy Dior Homme Original now, it is going to smell like the original Dior Homme, which of course has that iris in it, so it's a clean, fresh, powdery iris scent. This could be a signature scent for so many people. It is so easy to wear. The iris, this Tuscan iris that Dior list, is, I think, very attention grabbing and pretty sexy. I think people really latch on to that smell on a man. Whilst I've just said I do enjoy the 2020 version of Dior Homme, I think this is better. I like the iris in there. I think it elevates it. I think it gives it a more distinct identity. You can't go wrong with Dior Homme. It's a safe but not boring fragrance. You can wear it all year round. It's got fantastic versatility. You could wear it for the gym, you could wear it for the club, you could wear it whenever, and it is going to smell great. We've already talked about 1 Fahrenheit, now it's time to talk about the next one, and this is higher up the list because for me it's just a little more in line with my taste. I'm talking about Fahrenheit Le Parfum. You get the Fahrenheit DNA in here, but it's more in the background. It's softened, it's rounded with vanilla, there's some rum giving a booziness. It takes the original Fahrenheit, everything that was great about that, so you still get a bit of that gasoline accord, so it has that assertive, confident quality to it, but then it's got that nice sensual nature of the sweet, creamy vanilla, the booziness. It just all blends together really well. It's a really warming, comforting, sensual scent, but at the same time has some attitude, so it's got a balance of all these great characteristics. Good one for the autumn and winter because of the warming nature of this. Fahrenheit Le Parfum is a superb scent. I talked about how Sauvage EDT was such a strong fragrance for an eau de toilette. This version of Sauvage is the strongest of them all. Elixir. Big, bold, powdery, spicy lavender scent. Probably kicked off the current fascination and trend of Elixir fragrances. Best of the Sauvage line in my opinion. It does have a bit of the original Sauvage smell, but the spices, it's got a little bit of licorice, which gives the fragrance a great structure. The lavender here is amped up. It is just a very strong, bold fragrance. It does have that classic masculine cologne smell to it, but because of all the spices and a bit of sweetness, it is really modern at the same time. If you want to be smelled, if you want to walk into a room and own it, then this is going to do that. If you overspray it, it's going to get a bit obnoxious, but when it's sprayed at just the right amount, it is bold enough to appreciate, but not too strong to get on your nerves. So go easy on the trigger with Elixir. It's a fantastic scent. Everyone else tried to imitate the Elixir hype, but I don't think any Elixir has gotten close to the quality of this since Sauvage Elixir. This is the 5th fragrance. This is the one that is ranking number 5, and it is a classic. It's Dior Homme Cologne. Beautiful, musky, citrus scent. I think bergamot is listed as the citrus in this, but I get this gorgeous orange rind, and it also makes me think of drinking a fresh orange juice on a balcony somewhere hot overlooking a gorgeous blue ocean. Fantastic imagery for a fragrance to evoke. It just whisks me off to another place. It transports me. What I find impressive about Dior Homme Cologne is that it is a fresh fragrance. I would definitely describe it as a freshie. It doesn't have a massive sort of woody depth to it, although it does have a depth, but it lasts. Whenever I wear it, I'm always surprised by how long it lasts, because when I first spray it on, I feel like it's very citrusy, very clean, very fresh, and I feel like a lot of fragrances that are in that category, it will fade quite quickly, but this never does. Maybe it's the musks that Dior use. I don't know, Dior are just great at making fragrances, aren't they? But this is a fresh fragrance that lasts. I wouldn't say it's a strong fragrance, it's not a beast, it's not a room filler or anything, but the longevity is really commendable on Dior Homme Cologne. This is one of the best fresh, sophisticated, clean smells that you could wear. Nothing terribly game-changing or complex about this fragrance, but it just smells natural and it's so enjoyable to wear. Number 4 is my go-to gentlemanly fragrance from Dior. This is the one I want to wear when I want to smell sophisticated. Maybe I'm dressed up smart in a suit. I'm going to a formal event, formal occasion. It's Eau Sauvage Parfum. It's sweet, it's spicy, it's aromatic, it's very gentlemanly, very classically masculine. But again, Dior have got the balance just right, because there's enough in here that modernizes it. It doesn't smell like a vintage dated smell at all. Fahrenheit, the original, does lean a little bit that way to me, as I mentioned, but this one certainly doesn't. I can wear this and still feel very modern and up to date. It is one of the classiest fragrances that I own. It just works so well for a formal occasion. It's quite strong, it's quite rich. If you want to dress it up and look smart and look sharp, if you want to smell as sharp and as classy as you're looking, then Eau Sauvage Parfum is certainly a fragrance that is going to do that for you. I'll never tire of wearing this. I think it's a masterpiece. And yeah, we are into masterpiece territory here, getting right up to the top of the list. This is number 3, although number 3 and number 2 are pretty much even Stevens, I would say. But the one I'm putting at number 3 is Dior Homme Parfum. We've got that beautiful powdery iris note. There's leather giving this one tons of depth, tons of firepower, and a little bit of jammy rose and a little bit of booziness as well. It's all about the attitude with Dior Homme Parfum. If I wear this fragrance, it smells dense, it smells rich, it smells like I'm making a statement. It's a big, bold fragrance. It's got great performance, but it's got enough sophistication as well. So it's got the classiness. This is what I reach for when I'm dressed casually smart, wearing a leather jacket. It just blends so perfectly with what I'm trying to pull off when I dress like that. Dior Homme Parfum it's another masterpiece. The next fragrance is one that I am constantly having this back and forth with about which one I like more, and I think I've come to the conclusion I pretty much like both of them the same, but for different reasons. The next one, and the one at number 2, is Dior Homme Intense. The reason I've put this one just slightly higher than Dior Homme Parfum is it's just a little more versatile, so I'd probably decide to wear this one more often. Again, we've got the iris in this. We don't have the leather like Dior Homme Parfum, which is why this one is perhaps a little more versatile, a little more wearable. We've got this slightly chocolatey cacao feel, which just works so nicely with the iris. This takes the original Dior Homme and just dials everything up. It just makes it a little stronger, a little thicker. That's why I prefer it to the original Dior Homme, because that is a thinner fragrance. This is thicker, it's got more structure to it, it's got more backbone, and I love that about it. This is consistently talked about as one of the greatest masculine fragrances of all time. I think I'd probably say one of the greatest modern masculine fragrances of all time, because of course there are some incredibly iconic, legendary fragrances that came before this. And it actually is a fragrance labeled as intense that is actually more intense than its original version. And for that reason, Dior Homme Intense is so high up this list. Amazing. The one that I've put at the top of this list is sadly discontinued. I'm sure you can hunt around for it and buy this from eBay or from Facebook sellers. And the reason it is at the top of this list is because out of all my Dior fragrances, it's the one I wear the most. And the reason I wear it the most is because of its versatility. This is Dior Homme Eau for Men. Why do I wear this one the most? Well, the simple answer is it's the most wearable. And I'm not being funny, the reason that it is the most wearable is because it combines all the great elements of the other Dior fragrances. So we've got that sexy Tuscan iris, we've got some attitude, we've got some depth, there's a little bit of creaminess in there, the lovely powdery quality. So it's got this thickness to it, this slight density, but it's still got a fresh quality, which is what makes it so versatile and so wearable. So I can get everything I love about that powdery, slightly creamy iris, but I can get it in a DNA that has a little bit of freshness, so I can wear it for the gym, I could wear it casually, I could wear this dressed up, I could easily be happy wearing this as a formal occasion scent. It is taking all the elements of all the other Dior Hommes and putting it in a version that is simply the most wearable and enjoyable version of that Iris Dior Homme DNA. That's why it's at the top of this list. It's a shame, but it is my #1 worn Dior fragrance. It is my favourite of all the Dior fragrances that I own. How do you feel about Dior Homme Eau for Men? Do you think I'm putting it too much on a pedestal? There's something about it. I can't stop wearing it. I'm addicted to Dior Homme Eau for Men, but the whole collection of Dior that I have, these 13 fragrances, I think they're all great. There is not a bad fragrance in here. Have Dior ever made a bad fragrance? If Dior have made a bad fragrance, let me know, because if they have, I don't think I own it. And which is your favorite of all the Diors? Let me know in the comments. That's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed the ranking. If you want to see another ranking of another house, maybe my #1 house, Tom Ford. If you want to see my Tom Ford collection ranked, let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you do all that, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.